Forget a brat summer or falling out of a coconut tree. Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign and this year's Democratic National Convention are going all in on influencers. The DNC invited 200 influencers or content creators to produce content from the event. They've been treated to yacht parties, lounges, free food and drinks, plus their very own special cordoned off areas right on the convention floor. So what's behind the strategy here? Well, for more, we're joined by Carolyn Kissad. She's the Associate Dean of the Graduate Programs in Global Affairs and Global Security, Conflict and Cybercrime at New York University. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Set up for us, who are some of the influencers and what's their purpose in being there?
So the influencers you pointed out, right? Kamala is Brat. So Charlie XCX, who's a singer-songwriter, not necessarily an influence, social media influence, but really sort of catapulted this whole movement, social media movement. Deja Fox, Nabella Noor, Olivia Juliana, John Russell. I mean, there are a number of influencers, all of whom have 500,000, million plus followers. And as you pointed out in the introduction, over 200 influencers received credentials to attend the DNC, which is quite historic. We did have social media in the 2020 election, but not at the level that it is in 2024.
End game of all of these conventions and social media output is ultimately votes. Does social media influencers at a convention translate to votes at the end of the day?
You know, I believe it will translate into votes, but very specific segments, and just new polling data coming out is showing that the Harris-Walz campaign is actually moving upwards in terms of non-white, young, and female voters. So I do think that it is 100% capturing young people's attention. It's having young people feel seen and heard. It's meeting them where they're at in terms of how they consume media. And, you know, the type of content that's being created, it's visual, it's short form. So, you know, I do think for that 18 to 24-year-old demographic, which is very important, I think that it is and will make a difference ultimately on Election Day.
Depending on how you look at it, the Democrats are a bit on their back foot in the social media game. You've got Donald Trump, who has his own social media platform. You know, he recently went on with Adrian Ross, who's like one of the #1 streamers in the world, and gave him like an exclusive one-on-one interview. So who is winning the social media game this time around?
It's such a great question. I think that, again, I think the Trump campaign feels backwards in comparison to the Harris campaign in terms of how they're approaching social media. And one of the things I think that is really critical is the sort of Trump's social media is very negative. So it is very much, you know, it's making fun of Harris. It's talking about more doom and gloom, whereas the Harris social media campaign and the influencers are really taking a funny approach. They're actually making Democrats cool and funny again. And, you know, something that Oprah Winfrey said last night, which of course is going viral, is the vibe is back. And this idea of joy, which has been a big theme, that especially of the DNC sort of opening on Monday night. And I think, you know, honestly, if you really go back in, you know, 2020, Trump used Twitter, you know, and Twitter is much less popular now as X, especially amongst a young demographic that has really sort of fully on board around TikTok, Instagram. And this is where the influencers are, you know, making their impact. And as you pointed out, Coconut Summer, you know, the Brat Summer, I mean, all these sort of terms now, and there are mainstream media outlets that are creating explainers. So it's quite interesting from a campaign perspective.
It has been fascinating to watch the rise of the influencers and their influence overall in this presidential campaign. Carolyn Kissad, great to have you back with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.